Hello and welcome to another Smaulgld live stream. It is the 28th of August 2019 and tonight's topic, what's up with platinum? Now, that's a question a lot of people ask me. Platinum is a precious metal. It is, however, underowned, undermined, and perhaps undervalued. So tonight we're going to take a look at some facts about platinum, where it grows, where it is mined. We're going to take a look at platinum prices. We're going to take a look at the gold platinum ratio over the last year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. We've got a lot of charts tonight. You can see them all on smaulgld.com if you miss any of them. I'll put a link below. We're going to take a look at platinum coin sales at the US Mint, at the Perth Mint, the Canadian Mint. We're also going to take a look at platinum stockpiles. We've got some charts on that. And we're going to take a look at the trading on NYMEX, not the COMEX, but it's very similar, and how much platinum is stored there and how much trading is going on in platinum. So you can sit back and we're going to learn a lot about platinum tonight. All right, so I'm going to show you a bunch of charts. And let's start first by just giving a brief history of platinum. This is something a lot of people probably don't know, that platinum was only discovered in 1735 in, I think it was somewhere in South America. And about 90 years later, platinum was discovered in the Ural Mountains in Russia. And here's another unknown fact, that from 1828 to 1845, Russian Emperor Nicholas I actually had the newly found platinum forged into platinum coins, and they circulated as a monetary metal. And that's the only example of platinum coins being circulated as a medium of exchange, but one could say platinum has a monetary history. And then in 1865, platinum deposits were discovered in South Africa, and those are the largest deposits. And today, South Africa has pretty much 3/4 of the platinum mining. Russia's got about 15-20%. And they're like the world's major producers of platinum. And I'm going to show you some charts. Also, Canada, United States, Japan, and Zimbabwe provide some supply. But essentially, the supply comes from South Africa and Russia. Okay, now, Anne says they must be pretty coins. Actually, silver is much a better looking metal. Obviously, I've seen silver. I have seen platinum. And platinum is a grayer metal. It is not as shiny. Silver is the most reflective metal. Now, platinum, we're going to get into, does have a significant jewelry demand. A lot of that was out of Japan that shifted to China. And that's pretty much slowed down a bit. There used to be a cachet value for platinum, but gold is actually, in my opinion, a better looking metal. Silver is a better looking metal, but it does tarnish. But platinum was very big for jewelry. And again, I think it's only because it's very expensive. And you've seen that in your credit cards. They talk about the platinum card, which is a bigger deal than the gold card. But as we're going to see, the gold price and even the palladium price has passed for platinum. Here's a picture of platinum. I don't know if you could tell from the picture whether it's, I should have gotten a picture of silver, but that's what platinum looks like. It's very much like silver. It's in the gray metals, but it's not particularly more attractive than silver. Silver does reflect more and is shinier. All right, let's get some more facts on platinum, where it comes from, what it's used for. So platinum is basically used for catalytic converters. It's number one industrial. They don't use it for money. Jewelry, about 30%. Catalytic converters, about 50%. And there's some investment demand. We're seeing now for the last 10 years, really with the advent of ETFs, you can put anything in an ETF, and we'll see platinum is now in ETFs as well. Let's get into the properties of platinum. Now, here's some interesting information about platinum. Atomic number 78. The symbol is on the chart of the elements is PT. But here's an interesting thing about platinum, which makes it pretty hard to counterfeit. It's a very dense metal, one of the densest metals out there at 21.45 grams per cm to the third, and copper is only 8.96, silver 10.5. Now gold is a dense metal, a very heavy metal if you ever held it. It's 19.32, and tungsten I think is just a little less dense, and that's why you get a lot of counterfeits in gold where they get tungsten and the weight test is not gonna tell you that you've got a counterfeit, because it may look the same if they plate it with gold or even put a couple of coats on there. But platinum you really can't fake because it's a much denser metal, higher melting point. And again, it was discovered in 1735, so it's a relatively new metal, and these industrial applications only came about when, like in the 60s and 70s, when they try to figure out ways to reduce noxious fumes from cars with the catalytic converters. All right, now we mentioned who makes platinum, who mines it. South Africa, the big one, most of it, then Russia, Zimbabwe, Canada, the United States. Those countries will change. Sometimes Zimbabwe or Canada, the United States will be third, depending on how much they can mine. It's a very, very, very rare metal. In fact, let me just show you the difference before we get into each country's production. This is why relative rarity, to me, is a nonsense, because platinum above the ground, platinum mined every year, is more than 10 times rarer than gold. And yet gold is more expensive than platinum right now, even when, and we're going to take a look at those charts, even when platinum was more pricey than gold, it was never 10 times more pricey based on its relative rarity. So when all the silver is rarer than gold, when you hear all this stuff about silver being only 8 times as rare or 9 times as rare, and therefore the price should be that relative rarity is really not the final arbiter determinant of price. But here you can see on this chart, and this is just a 10-year period I took, 2004 to 2013. And platinum, really, you never mine more than 250 tons a year in the stuff. There's not that much of it to mine, or if there is, it's expensive to mine. It does cost, similar to gold, about $1,100, $1,000 an ounce to mine. But look at the gold production numbers, and they've been pretty steady over the last 10, 15 years. We're mining between 2,400 and 3,000 tons a year. Well, that's 10x more than the amount of platinum that's coming out of the ground. And as we mentioned, we don't see a 10x platinum. It's because the demand isn't there. Yeah, there's some jewelry demand and there's a catalytic converter demand, but people aren't hoarding platinum. And it doesn't have a long monetary history. Basically, it has no human history. 1735. I mean, that's nothing in terms of recorded history. We're going back to the ancient Romans, the ancient Greeks, going back to Lydia and Turkey and so on, going into the BC times, gold and silver. There was no such thing as platinum. It was existed, but they hadn't found it, hadn't discovered it. So there's not much of a history there, and therefore there's less of an allure and less of a demand. And we did mention here, yeah, it's got a limited history as a monetary metal, and that platinum coins are issued by Nicholas Tsar in the 19th century. As we know, gold has been a monetary metal for the longest time. Other demands and uses, I have this chart prepared by Nick Laird. You can see that the two big players are jewelry and the auto catalytic converter demand. This just shows a chart in a chart form rather than just percentages. The next biggest demand is other. I mean, it's a useful metal, but it's just like when they talk about all these uses that silver has because of its wonderful properties, it's usually tiny amounts. That's why I don't go on this. Silver is so useful mantra, or you hear it all the time, and someone's trying to sell you silver. If someone was trying to sell you platinum, they would tell you how wonderful it is and the dense properties and how rare it is. Difference is there aren't platinum pumper channels. You don't have channels dedicated to promoting a cult of platinum. I'm sure if you did, there'd be bigger sales. We're going to get into those, how much platinum is actually sold. And I'm not looking to become a platinum pumper. I'm just going to provide you some information. I'll even show you where you can buy platinum. It's not investment advice. None of this is. This is just what I've pulled together for informational purposes about platinum. You do what you want. But if you are going to buy platinum, please use the links that I do. And do your own research if you're going to buy platinum or anything. If you're going to buy gold or silver. Okay, so you can see there's some varied uses for platinum, but not in large amounts, because you're talking about 6 or 7 million ounces a year worth of platinum that's required to meet all of these various demands. Now, we mentioned who mines it, and let me show you. I've got a few more charts here just to drill home the point. This shows you that South Africa rules the roost when it comes to mining it, and Russia's second, and after that, maybe Canada or Zimbabwe in a given year. But really, you are reliant on essentially 2 countries for world platinum demand. And another thing about platinum production is, just to show you, I showed you that chart where platinum is mined at a rate 10 times less than gold. Well, if you add silver in, I mean, silver is mined at a rate far in excess of gold. If you take precious metals mining in general, and you just add up all the tonnage of gold and the tonnage of silver and the tonnage of even just the millions of ounces of platinum, platinum reflects less than 1% of the total global precious metals mining production. Now, that's a good way of looking at it. Now, it's not the most expensive, but it does highlight there that when you're talking about mining, there's not a lot of platinum being mined. 6 million ounces, 5 million ounces a year, 7 million ounces if you're lucky. I mean, think about, even in a bad year at the U.S. Mint, they sell 15, 20 million ounces of silver in the form of American Silver Eagle. So not a lot of very rare metal, talking very small amounts that are mined every year. It's got a lot of uses, mostly jewelry and auto for the catalytic converters. Well, let's take a look at some of these numbers now. We'll look at overall platinum production, and we'll just look at the individual countries and how much they've been producing each year. Now, South Africa is subject to strikes, and that can really damage the amount of platinum that could come to market. And you could see here, this is a chart that goes to 2017, but 5,488,000 kilos, 500,000 kilos. You're not talking a lot here. And if you go back, there's not a lot of stockpilage because not much was being mined from 1930 on this chart up to like 1990. It's really, you can see in the 70s it starts to pick up because platinum, they discovered a new catalytic converter use, and then they made catalytic converters mandatory in cars, and then around the world they were made after the United States made them mandatory, so you had that platinum demand pickup. Diesel cars used them, and of course, one of the reasons the platinum price fell is because the diesel cars, I think there was something happened in Germany, Mercedes stopped making them, and there was less of a demand. But there's still that cachet demand, that jewelry demand that's there, and you could see still the largest green on there comes from Africa, which is mostly South Africa, but also a bit of Zimbabwe. Then after that, you've got your Eastern Europe, which is essentially Russia. Now let's break down. This is interesting. You can see, let's go to South Africa first, since they are, well, here's just another way of looking at global production where platinum sits. This is just another way of showing there's just 6 million ounces produced in a given year compared to the amount of gold and silver that is produced. All right, let's look at, again, all these charts are on Smaulgld. I've got them categorized according to about, palladium, platinum prices, platinum coin sales, platinum stockpiles, and platinum trading. But let's look now at the platinum production in the largest, which is South Africa, largest country. And you can see they've stepped up their game, and then they have years where they go down, and they produce about just 2.8 million ounces, or 283,000 kilos in a given year, up to 33,000 kilos. But after South Africa, you're gonna watch this. You go right down. No one produces that much, not even close. Russia's the biggest one, and They do 113,000 kilos, or about 1,000,000+ ounces. I mean, this is not a lot of platinum. And then from Russia, it dives straight down. More recently, I think Canada's been doing a little more than Zimbabwe. But you're talking about 270,000 ounces. I mean, this is not a lot. 280,000 ounces, 27,000 kilos, in other words. So you can see it's also subject, to spikes and dives. A lot of that has to depend on whether there's a strike or whether there is a low price and they just don't bother as much. It's not really a byproduct metal. They have to find it. There's very few areas where there are actual platinum deposits that they found. And then you end up down in Zimbabwe is kind of promising. It's formerly Rhodesia. You can see they weren't really a player in the platinum market. They kind of are now, but not a lot. I mean, you're talking about 290,000 ounces a year. Not a tremendous amount. And then you dip down to Canada, we saw, and then United States has an okay amount. The United States also stepped up their game. I think there's one company, let me see if I can find the name of it, that gets the bulk of platinum in the United States. I don't have it at my disposal, but you can see 17,000 kilos. The United States has picked up. The United States has a lot of mining that it could do that it doesn't do. A lot because of environmental reasons. Japan also, interestingly enough, has gotten into the platinum mining and minimal amounts, about 90,000 ounces a year, but still something. It's adding to the amounts. All right, so that's it on your general platinum uses, where it comes from, which countries, and the history. Let's move on now to pricing of platinum. We mentioned that platinum is generally considered a very expensive metal and more expensive than gold. It's rarer than gold, and it has somewhat of I use the word cachet a few times, but it does have the idea that it is some kind of special metal. But look at this chart here. The gold price is at the top, and this is just a one-year chart. And it shows, gold was $1,200 a year ago, and now it's $1,532. Platinum was $800, and now it's today it went over $900, so that's why we're talking about it. It was $880 in this chart, I think, but $861. But today it went over $900. It went up $30, $40. But look at the gold-platinum ratio. Gold is almost worth twice as much as platinum. It's 1.78 to 1. And a year ago, it was 1.5 to 1, 1.52 to 1. And that ratio has gone up, despite the fact that platinum's still rarer than gold. It's just that gold is a go-to metal in financial crisis, negative interest rates, QE, financial uncertainty. Platinum, not so much. Now remember, platinum and gold also have jewelry demand. They're about the same. What really drives the gold price is not so much the jewelry demand. It's the investment demand. And then a lot of the jewelry demand is more investment. And I think if someone is going to buy jewelry with the understanding that they like it, it's expensive, they're going to sell it as an investment, probably more likely to buy gold, because gold is probably easier to dump. When I say dump, I mean sell. Dealers know what it is. They can test it. Platinum, it's not widely traded. People don't see it as much. So I think the platinum buy is more of a discretionary jewelry buy than the gold jewelry buy. May not be discretionary. Maybe a combination of, hey, I'm going to make an investment and I've got some extra money. So it's a combination of having the wherewithal to buy it, but also knowing that it's an investment. I think platinum people don't look at as much as an investment. It's all speculation. I can't get into the minds of everyone who buys platinum jewelry or gold jewelry, but I do know a lot of people who buy gold as a jewelry, but they consider that as they own something of value. Most people, if they buy silver jewelry, they don't. You're talking a $15, $20 silver necklace. I don't think they have themselves an investment. If they have an $800 necklace, if they wear gold, they may think that is some type of investment. Okay, so there's your 1 year, and you can see that gold is clearly more valued on the ratio, almost 2 to 1. But let's go back. Has it always been this way? Let's go back to a 5-year platinum gold ratio, gold platinum ratio? Well, back in 2014, at the end of the year, in 2015, we were actually at a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, if you look at the lines, you can see the gold line is obviously gold, and then the platinum line is obviously platinum. And they were both trading around $1,200 5 years ago. In fact, the very end of 2014, platinum was trading, about $1,400, and gold was trading about $1,250. Well, we switched places there, and you can see that platinum fell below 1,000 briefly in 2016, spiked up to about 1,150, and then fell again. And now you can see since 2018, it hasn't gotten above $1,000 per ounce. It's fallen as low as 800. It's been bouncing along the bottom. It was actually about 780 towards the end of last summer, and it got to 900 earlier this year, and it looks like it's back at 900 again. But look at the divergence. You can see gold going straight higher. And so about 5 years ago, they were both about the same price, but not anymore. Now, if you go back 10 years, it's a much different story. You can see 2010, 2011, 2012, the platinum was clearly the more expensive metal per ounce. Platinum went from about $1,300 all the way up to about $1,800. Gold also went higher, but at one point, platinum, the gold platinum ratio was 0.8 to 1. So it's more than doubled, because the gold platinum ratio today is 1.78 to 1. So 0.8 times 0.8 is 1.6. Now it's at 1.78. So platinum has run on some hard times here, and gold has actually continued to shine. Now let's go back 20 years. Now over a 20-year period, you can see the period from 2000 to 2009, platinum clearly was the more expensive metal, with a gap, always with a gap. In fact, at one point, it pretty much averaged from 2001 to 2008, 0.5 to 1. So that ratio is more than tripled, because platinum went over $2,000 an ounce in 2008. But then it died. Then it took a dive, and that looks like the financial crisis. It looked like people probably said, hey, I got margin calls. I'm sitting on $2,000 an ounce platinum. I'm going to sell. But then you can see it went right back up. It's a great buying opportunity there. If you sold at $2,200, within a couple of weeks, it went down to like $700. And then within a year or so, it was back at $1,500. But you can see, now you're getting into a period of time where platinum is always ahead of gold. In fact, on this chart from 2000 pretty much to 2012, platinum was always more expensive than gold. Varying degrees, but always more expensive. And pretty much since 2015, gold has been more expensive than than platinum. That's rarely happened. That's the longest period of time, I think, in the last 100 years. Let's go back 50 years. You could see again. Now, you really can't count 1960 to 1974. We've talked about this before. Gold is at a disadvantage on the gold-silver ratio, on the gold-platinum ratio, platinum-gold ratio, because gold's price was fixed from 1934 to 1974. So anytime someone like Buffett tries to tell you that if you bought gold in 1944 and then you bought the stocks and he gives you his difference, his point is pointless, because you basically have 40 years of $35 an ounce gold. And if that's the case, then it's a pointless comparison, because obviously if gold isn't moving, everything else has a chance to do better. And it's the same with platinum. You can see platinum was ahead in the 60s and 70s because it was free market trading. And then you see from 1975 on, it pretty much, if you look at the lines, it tracked gold almost to the note. The lines are almost identical. They're trading as a rare metal. And it isn't until around 1990 that platinum gets a bit ahead of itself. And then again, as I mentioned, in 2000, it breaks out. A lot of that was, I'd imagine, that's when the Japanese period, if you think about the cut off again there. I was saying that I believe the divergence was due to an increase in demand in the 80s when the Japanese started buying a lot of jewelry. Japan was doing very well in the 80s, and platinum jewelry was all the rage. And then when Japan hit a rough patch, the lost decade, the lost 2 decades in the 90s, early 2000s, that's when China started to pick up, and they caught a penchant for the platinum jewelry, and that probably helped drive up also China's emergence, not just as a jewelry buyer, but then they started realizing that they had pollution issues with their cars, and they started installing catalytic converters. So that probably drove the price of and the demand for platinum up as well. So that's your gold platinum ratio. It is kind of low right now. I mean, high, depending on how you look at it. It's a 1.78. Platinum has not really moved much. Maybe it won't, but again, speculative metal. We're not covering palladium tonight, but the interesting thing is about 10-15 years ago when platinum was, about $1,100, palladium was like $400, $500. And palladium then ratcheted up to $1,500. So palladium moved up as a alternative to platinum, and then platinum has not regained its industrial demand. All right, let's look at coin sales. Now, coin sales are interesting. They do highlight that it's not really a popular item. The Perth Mint sells them. They sell platinum platypus coins since about 2008. Before that, they did make Australian platinum koala bullion coins, and they would sell between 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 a year, some years, and then some years just a few thousand. Was not a big seller. Then they stopped making them in, in 2000, and then they started making these platypus coins in the last 10 years. And you can see they're hit or miss. I guess when they first restart making them again, they minted 30,000. 2013 and 14, very little demand. 2000, I think, then 1,500 in 2014. 2015, 12,000. And just recently, a couple of thousand Perth Mint. Now, Perth Mint's not the largest mint, but still, not a big seller. There was more interest, it appears. I'm going to do a chart on them. Back in the most interest in platinum, pretty much when people weren't buying silver, they would be either buying gold or platinum as a store of wealth back then. So you were selling 40, 50,000 of these Australian koalas. One year they sold 79,000 of the 1 ounce bullion koala coin. I've never seen them, but and they were being minted in unlimited amounts subject to demand. So less demand today than back then. Let's look at Canada. Now, Canada is also kind of hit or miss. Wasn't able to get all the numbers, but they've probably sold under 100,000 ounces of platinum. But that's a lot of platinum, given that they only mine 6-7 million ounces a year in total. But here's a chart showing Royal Canadian Mint platinum from 2009 to 2013. I did manage to find the 2014 numbers. I know they're still making them, but they're not publishing the numbers in their annual report, probably because it's not a significant amount that they need to put it down as material. I think in 2014 they managed to sell almost 20,000, but you can see here 32,000 is the peak in 1 year. Now, there is a history at the U.S. Mint. They actually make American Platinum Eagles, and unlike the American Silver Eagle, and unlike the American Gold Eagle, they actually change the design from time to time. It's kind of cool. They're nice looking. From time to time, they haven't made them recently, but they've made smaller ones, like 1/10 ounce, 1/4 ounce, half ounce, and 1 ounce. And they minted them from 1997 to 2008, and then they stopped. And I think the financial crisis, they realized they got enough going on, trying to meet the demand. Ed Moy, the director of the Mint, probably has something to say about this. When they hit the financial crisis of 2008, they were having a rough time meeting demand for the American Gold Eagles and the American Silver Eagles, so they stopped minting the American Gold Buffalo because they weren't required by law to mint them, and I'm sure they weren't required by law to mint these platinum things, so they stopped making them. And you can see there's only 1 year, 1998, they sold a big amount, 138,000. But then after Y2K, it looks like 10,000, 11,000, 5,000, 7,500. 2008, they did ramp up to 20,800. They brought them back in 2014 and sold about 15,000. Then they didn't make them in 2015. And since 2016, they've been selling about 20,000 for those 2 years, 16 and 17. Last year, 30,000. So far this year, they've sold 40,000. They're 1 ounce coins. There's a bit of a premium on them, but I will leave you the links if you're interested in at least looking at these coins at SD Bullion, at Money Metals Exchange, and Golden Eagle Coins. You can look at their offerings at the affiliate links. I get a small commission if you do buy them, but I'm not suggesting that you do. But if you do buy them, you can use those links and compare pricing and shipping on these coins. So you can see they're not a big seller, and that could mean they could be collectibles, or maybe it just means there's not much of a demand for them. But let's see now how institutions are viewing platinum as an investment metal. Let's look at the institutional demand. Look at that. Similar to what we've seen in silver lately. You got a big spike at the beginning of this year in holdings in platinum ETFs to the point now where it's at an all-time high. So as we've said, that sometimes these, you can't really look at the retail sales as indicators of moves in precious metals. You really have to look at the paper trading, the COMEX trading, and I think what's going on behind the scenes in terms of stockpiling. And you got your big stockpile going on here. ETF securities is now, you can see it's the green at the top. That's the one that's pretty much ratcheted up the fastest. And if you add in all of your millions of ounces of platinum, they've got like 3/4 of a year supply of mining supply locked in the ETFs there. It's like 3.5 million ounces. This is up to date here. So maybe they're making a move. I don't know. I don't follow platinum on a daily basis. I review it from time to time. The Smaulgld site does track every day the gold platinum ratio, and it is, if you trade ratios, which I don't place much stock in ratios, but if you do place stock in your ratios as part of your determination of value, you could check that every day on the Smaulgld site. Let's look at a bigger chart showing, this is just the value of these holdings. You've got, it's the same, basically the same chart, only without the breakdown, but this shows there's now 3.5 million ounces as of yesterday in ETFs, and that's worth about $2 billion. It's not a lot. $3 billion. It's worth about $3 billion. And that indicates that it's a small market, and if there were some type of spark of investment demand moving into platinum, well, it would get overwhelmed. I'm surprised that hasn't happened. I mean, it happens in rhodium all the time. You can see that thing goes up from like 2,000 to 10,000, but it doesn't seem to happen in platinum. It happened in palladium, went from 300 to 1,500. So maybe platinum can do it, maybe it won't. I don't know. All right, let's now take a final look, and we'll take some questions at how this stuff trades on the equivalent of COMEX, but the NYMEX it's called. And let's just look at your same chart that I kind of show you for, well, I do show you, not kind of, for gold and silver. You've got, it's the same structure. You got commercials trade, non-commercials, non-reportables. You got open interest. But one thing that's interesting is exactly the same concept that we had in silver. We had all the silver, I don't know, pumpers, I guess, saying, never happened before, the commercials have gone long. Well, it's only because when the price goes down so long and they're short for so long, eventually they've got to go long. And you could see platinum pulled the same kind of stunt that silver did. Platinum fell basically from January 2008 almost in a straight line till October of 2008. And what happened during that time period? If you look at the blue line below, they're short, they're short, they're short, they're short. At some point, it makes sense to go long, and they did. And then when the price went back up, they started shorting again. So that's basically no different. But, of course, if you're listening to someone hyperventilating about never happened before, it means silver set to skyrocket. Well, if you had platinum pumper channels back then, they would tell you platinum set to skyrocket, and it wasn't, and it didn't. So this is just the normal yin-yang of what happens with traders. if the price falls consistently for a long period of time and you've been short for a long period of time, eventually you got to go long. You start cashing out your shorts and vice versa. And you can see that on these charts. They almost move in a proportional inverse relationship to each other. Now, here's an interesting thing is we saw there's like 3.5 million ounces of platinum in ETFs. Well, the NYMEX platinum stockpiles, that's there available to take delivery if someone wants to stand for delivery on their NYMEX platinum contract. There's only 169,000 ounces in there. And that's a tiny amount. In 2008, there was like 40,000 ounces. I mean, in the early 2000s, you're talking about 15,000 ounces of platinum. Now, we've talked about owners per ounce. It's somewhat of a misnomer, but it effectively means the amount of silver or gold or platinum which is available to settle contracts. I'm not backing the contracts. But so in this case, we've seen that the owners per ounce is a very high 22. Like in gold and silver, it's in the single digits, like 3 to 5, 3 to 6. If you count all the gold that's in the warehouse, all the silver that's in the warehouse, not just the registered gold. But there really is much more of a potential for there to be a run on the platinum because there isn't much silver. I mean, there isn't that much platinum there if someone wanted to, quote, take delivery. But it's also because there's less interest in platinum. There's probably not a lot of major players in platinum. There's not a lot of physical demand for platinum. We see 40,000 coins a year maybe at the U.S. Mint, maybe 3,000 at the Perth Mint. As I say, it's interesting. That could change. It doesn't take much. Small market. If somehow platinum became a movie can come out and somebody could, famous actor or actress could be wearing platinum and everyone wants to go out and buy platinum. Who knows? But something could spark it a lot more out of the blue than gold or silver because everyone knows what gold and silver are. And we know what the uses are, and you can have a spike in demand, but it'd have to be a huge spike in gold or silver demand for it to matter. You wouldn't have to have much of a spike in platinum for it to matter, when you're talking about only mining 6 million. On the flip side of that, it could not be a demand spike, but it could be a supply dive. South Africa could have a problem. They could be under sanctions. They can shut them off. They can have strikes. The mines could shut down. They can have riots. Who knows? In which case, not a lot of platinum is going to be coming onto market, and obviously there's not that much above ground to meet demand. So, well, that's what we know about platinum so far. It's an interesting metal. Doesn't have a big monetary history. But I invite you to go over to Smaulgld.com to check out, if you're joining us late, all of the charts there. If you go there while you're listening to this on August 28th, it'll be the first blog post. After that, I will definitely have a link below to the blog post. It's not there now. It'll be there later tonight. But you can check out all of those charts and try to raise your understanding of the basics of platinum. I don't know really, other than what you saw. I don't watch it on a daily basis how it trades. I will look at the price now for you. I think it's about $900. Yeah, it's 900. It seems to be moving now in the delayed reaction that silver has been moving. So maybe there's some. I will have maybe tomorrow. I have the gold platinum ratio. I also have a silver platinum ratio chart I can show you. All right, let's see what you all are saying in the comments, and then we'll let you go unless you have some serious questions here. All right, Fiona and Ann are here. New England Python, hello there. All right, where's Barry? It's really dense too. Yeah, we did mention, Barry, the density of platinum, one of the densest metals. Where's Barry say? It says it's still undervalued by far even after today. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on platinum. My opinion on silver, my opinion on gold. That's based on watching their monetary components and their relative demands for each of those components. Platinum is more of an industrial play and a jewelry play. It doesn't have a monetary. Although I might think, we did see during the financial crisis that platinum moved in lockstep with gold. So Could be one of these things where gold gets too expensive and people don't want to buy silver. Maybe they want to buy platinum. I don't know. And Jack is asking anyone bought it. If anyone does buy it, let me know. Well, you don't have to let me know. Remember, if you buy through the Smaulgld links, I don't know the name of the person. I don't get any of that information. So it's a purely private sale. You click on the link and it gets sent to Golden Eagle Coin, Money Metals Exchange, and SD Bullion. All I know is that somebody bought something. They don't even say, it just says the amount. It doesn't say who bought it. It doesn't say what they bought. So just so you know that when you purchase, that I will not know. If you want to tell me you purchased platinum, I won't tell anyone else, but that's up to you. But I'd be interested to know if people are, like you say, buying it. Barry's saying, I'd like to get more, but it's only economical, 1 ounce or more, and I can't swing it these days. Yeah, they don't really sell small amounts. Actually, go check the 3 sites out. I didn't check them tonight, but occasionally they have the prior mintages. They do sell small amounts of it, 1/10 ounce. They're not making it anymore, but they are available in smaller amounts. But like you say, maybe the premium is too much. And Barry says if he made videos, he'd be a platinum pumper. All right. Jake says SRS Rocco is recommending to buy platinum earlier this year. Okay. Yeah, it's been below 800 a few times this year and last year. That's right. And Barry says, I think gold dragged the price up today. I don't think, well, maybe gold in general over the last few months, but today gold was actually flat and platinum was up a nice bit. All right, let's see. Jake Howard says, what if South Africa decide to hoard it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they would. I mean, generally, that's like saying why, the baker would decide to hoard all the bread and then people would starve, but why would they do it? I don't know why South Africa, what incentive they have to hoard platinum, but you're right. If, for whatever reason, if they're either shut off from the international markets or they shut themselves off or something happens, some ecological disaster, that you do have a centralized issue that the world's platinum is 3/4 of it comes out of South Africa. So anything could happen. It doesn't have to be a unilateral act. It could be an act of God. Who knows? Yep, for the last 10 years, the platinum gold ratio has only dropped. That is correct. Coins AZ is a big platinum fan. He's saying platinum to the moon. And Gold Merkin is saying platinum is undervalued like silver. You guys should start a platinum. Platinum is so useful. Platinum is rarer than gold. That whole thing. Platinum, without platinum, we could not lead our lives. They are finding new uses for platinum every day. Platinum is the end of the debt and death paradigm. I mean, you can start making platinum coins, platinum rounds. Yeah, so Trace is making a good point. I bet I know why platinum isn't seeing much price action. Probably because nobody really cares. That's what it used to be like for silver. I don't have the charts with me right now. Until the silver pumper channels came out and made silver a religion, with all the cult talk about silver is money, period, and so on, no one bought silver either. Silver is not an investment metal. In fact, silver is not an investment metal in China. Chinese don't buy it. They buy less, not per capita, less volume of investment silver than Americans do. Americans buy silver because of the pumper channels. Full stop. That if you look at, they came out after the financial crisis of 2008 and started pumping silver as being undervalued. Silver is rarer than gold. Silver is the best. This smoking deal, Robert Kiyosaki, Mike Maloney going on about silver, buying a house with monster box of silver by the year 2015. Oh, maybe even 200 ounces. Silver does an accounting. The gold silver ratio is out of whack. All these narratives, people didn't buy silver before that. If you look at the American Silver Eagle sales, sometimes they sold 3-4 times only the amount of American Gold Eagles they sold. So what I'm saying is, if you guys want to start pumping platinum, you can start Platinum Shield, you can start Platinum Bullet, you can start all kinds of just mythologize platinum since its findings in South Africa in 1735. And then Nicholas Czar monetized the precious metal rarer than gold and was minted into coins by Nicholas I. That's a lot of this stuff is just storytelling. And the silver pumpers have told a lot of stories, and they've managed to make silver. I think they've pumped the demand. That demand didn't exist before. Gold's demand is historic. It really has existed for thousands of years. Silver is not the same, nor is platinum, as Trace is saying. Jake Horwitzer, SRS Rocco's partner, the guy with the southern accent, expects the auto industry to turn from palladium to platinum in the near future because of the cost difference. You know, we have a Smaulgld subscriber here, and I don't know that. That was my initial reaction, too. It's like, okay, they're both about the same. You have switching costs. Why would you use palladium for $1,500 when you can use platinum for $800 or $900? But ASMR people, he wrote to me, and I forgot the rationale. They're actually not interchangeable, and I thought that they were. But platinum's value is mostly derived for industrial use as coins AZ. Max Strong is here. I don't see why YouTube would purposely cut you off. I don't know. I get cut off once a night, no matter what. That one, you're right. Usually it's I'm saying something. Maybe it was because I said Chinese. Because I was talking about Chinese and Japanese at the time. And generally if I mention China, I go off on a rant. And maybe they don't... they want China to be... promoted, and they figured, he's starting to talk about China. We're gonna shut him down. I bought a bar of platinum at $7.95 an ounce, says Steven Scherzer, earlier this year. It was only about $15.20 over spot. I was at a local gold and silver shop, and he offered me out of the blue, and I obliged. Okay. I wonder if he'll buy it back to you if it goes to $1,200 and you wanted to bring it back. Gold Merkin, Russia was the biggest producer of palladium in 2018. Yes, that is true. In fact, there was a company, I don't have the name of that one either. If it comes to me in my brain, I may have it. There is a company in Russia. No, that's the palladium company. Norlys Nickel. Maybe they also do platinum. But they have like 40% of the palladium market. Isn't that what you just said? Where Yeah, palladium. That is the company, yes. The company in Russia that controls 40% of the annual production of palladium is Norilsk Nickel. Something like that. And yeah, if they were to cut the world off from palladium, then I'm sure there's ways of switching them. But I from what ASMR people told me, that they're not. And they really do. I mean, palladium's density is like half of platinum. So there is a difference. They're both part of the same family of metals, but they're not really the same. Okay, so Fiona says that platinum in jewelry is mainly used for diamonds. Yeah, you see that in rings. You get a platinum setting or gold setting. I remember if you got a platinum setting, it was more money. And of course, people like that. They go, oh, well, I can get the platinum. Yeah, well, let's get the platinum. Even if it didn't look better, they wanted the platinum because it was more expensive. Diamonds are less popular in the last 10 years. Okay, I would think insufficient demand for platinum is because of that too. From what I've seen, though, in the numbers, Japan drove the 80s and 90s platinum jewelry. Then the Chinese drove, and this is where I got cut off when I said Japanese and Chinese, drove the jewelry demand in the 2000s. I think it's fallen out of favor in both countries. I knew it fell out of favor in Japan. Then China picked up the slack, but you don't really see much platinum being sold. And Fiona says, hi. Max says, the Perthman is a sweet dragon platinum, calling him that mix. Okay. Jake is saying, I wouldn't chase platinum right now. Okay. He's asking, anyone know the mining cost of South African platinum? The last time I checked was a few years ago. It was around $1,100. So they're probably holding back production. Fiona says, yeah, well, this is true. Platinum is better for jewelry than silver as it doesn't oxidize, which is correct, which is totally true. However, when you shine up silver, it's much more reflective than platinum. So it's a better looking metal, but it'll tarnish. But I mean, if it's only in a ring, I remember as a kid, I used to have to polish the silverware. That was a nuisance because we had, I'm trying to remember what we had. I wish we still had it. My parents had it. It was a like a big teapot. I don't know if it was silver plated or sterling silver. Might have been silver plate. Doesn't matter. It's still tarnished. And I used to have to take it out at Thanksgiving and rub it down. It took a long time, but when it was done, it shined. And it was all the silverware. But yes. But if it's just a ring, I mean, how much does it take to wipe off the tarnish? All right, well, that's it for tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining me. And if you haven't become a Smaulgld patron yet, just a reminder. You got the reminder there on the screen, how to do it. how to become a Smaulgld Subscribe Star member, or how to donate via PayPal if you've enjoyed this, or how to donate via Bitcoin or Litecoin. You got the QR codes right there on your screen, and you can donate that way. Big crushing day today for Bitcoin and Litecoin. Let's see if they're still down. Yeah, they are. And also you can support Smaulgld by shopping at those links. You don't have to buy platinum. You don't have to buy anything. But if you want to buy precious metals, you can buy platinum, gold, silver at the affiliate links. And you could support Smaulgld by sending a check or cash or platinum and palladium and gold and silver to Smaulgld LLC, P.O. Box 714, Dover, New Hampshire, 03820. And of course, you always add to your mug stack at smaulgld.com. We've got the Smaulgld game-changing mugs. We've got the Smaulgld classic, super classic. We got the beer mugs, beer stein. So check those out and help out Smaulgld. Thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow.